Back in the TARDIS, the Doctor fed the coordinates for New Memphis into the destination controls and took a moment to tune in to local news feeds to discover what Creel had been talking about. It didn't take long to find out. The year was 2487. The Doctor knew that this was an important time in the long saga of humanity's exploration of the universe. At this point in the 25th century, the human race was well established amongst the stars and had colonies scattered throughout known space. Hyperspace travel had made journeys of incredible distances commonplace, and gigantic spaceport terminals had developed to handle the millions of spacecraft criss-crossing the universe. One such hub of intergalactic travel was Elvis the King Spaceport, a massive construct on an otherwise barren and uninviting planet close to a major hyperspace nexus point, where traffic from 100 different star systems crossed daily. The unexceptional planet now known as New Memphis was a typical spaceport. Originally, it had been an uninhabited small planetoid of little interest to anyone. Then it had been made the site of a small refueling base. Slowly, the base had become more and more permanent, growing from an automated fuel dump to a fully fledged spaceport. The pace of development had then picked up, and the spaceport had begun to grow in both importance and stature. Physically, it grew too, and around it a wider settlement began to emerge. Over the course of 100 years, the quiet frontier outpost turned into a sprawling city-state, New Memphis, with a permanent population living on and off the trade and traffic that passed through the spaceport. New Memphis, the city-state surrounding the spaceport, had soon taken on a character of its own. It was a place of extreme contrasts, of glittering haves and downtrodden have-nots, of wealth and glamour, grime and crime. The spaceport had also continued to develop, but now it found itself having to seek permission from the city it had spawned for every new stage of growth. A plan for a much-needed 13th terminal had been discussed and argued over for decades before construction work had finally begun in 2479. Terminal 13 had finally opened just a few days ago after a long and inglorious development period beset by delays, protests and inquiries. It was meant to be a state-of-the-art facility that would service both passengers and freight customers with hitherto unheard-of levels of efficiency and automation. It was meant to be the most advanced transit terminal ever constructed, making travel between the stars comfortable, easy, and painless. It was meant to make Elvis the King Spaceport the most popular nexus point for journeys across the sector. Unfortunately, things had not gone according to plan.